Hidden beneath years of confusion, emotional exhaustion, and feeling different from everyone else, lies a truth that very few people ever discover. What if the trait that caused so many struggles throughout life was never a flaw? What if the deep sensitivity, the ability to feel what others ignore, and the constant awareness of emotions around you were all connected to a purpose far greater than most people realize? While many spend their lives trying to fit into a world that rewards toughness, speed, and emotional distance, a different path exists for those who experience life on a deeper level. There is a reason some people can walk into a room and instantly sense tension without a word being spoken. There is a reason some carry the pain of others as if it were their own. There is a reason certain individuals feel emotionally drained after spending time around negativity, yet feel energized when helping someone heal. For countless empaths, these experiences have been present since childhood, long before they had words to describe them. The challenge is that many empaths grow up believing that their sensitivity is a burden. They are told they care too much, they think too deeply, they feel too much. Over time, they begin questioning themselves. They wonder why situations affect them so strongly. They wonder why they cannot simply ignore suffering the way others seem to do. What often remains hidden is that these very struggles may be preparing them for a life mission unlike any other. A mission that has little to do with perfection, popularity, or power. A mission that often begins through pain, disappointment, and lessons that most people would rather avoid. One of the least discussed truths about empathy is that many empaths do not awaken to their purpose during moments of success. The awakening often arrives after betrayal, after heartbreak, after loss. After discovering that giving endless compassion to the wrong people can leave deep emotional scars. These difficult experiences are not random. They shape perception. They build wisdom. They teach lessons that cannot be learned from books alone. While others may move through life without questioning much, empaths are often pushed into a journey of self-discovery that forces them to understand human nature at a much deeper level. The very wounds that once seemed unfair often become the source of their greatest strength. Yet there is another side to this story that rarely receives attention. Many people believe an empath's purpose is to save everyone around them. This belief has caused countless empaths to exhaust themselves trying to fix problems that were never theirs to carry. They become emotional caretakers. They absorb stress that does not belong to them. They sacrifice their own well-being in an attempt to bring peace to others. But what if that was never the real mission? What if the purpose of an empath is not to rescue every person they meet? What if the true mission is far more powerful and far more meaningful than most realize? The answer may completely change the way you view empathy, relationships, personal growth, and even the struggles you have faced throughout your life. In this video, you will discover why empaths often feel different from an early age, why they seem to experience more emotional challenges than others, and how these experiences may be preparing them for a unique role in the world. You will learn about the hidden reason empaths attract certain types of people into their lives. You will uncover why many empaths go through intense periods of transformation before understanding who they truly are. You will also learn one of the biggest mistakes that keeps empaths trapped in cycles of exhaustion and emotional pain. Most importantly, you will discover the life mission that many believe only empaths are truly equipped to fulfill. As we move deeper into this journey, several surprising truths will emerge. Some may challenge beliefs you have carried for years. Others may explain experiences that never seemed to make sense before. By the end of this video, you may begin to see your sensitivity through a completely different lens. What once looked like weakness may reveal itself as strength. What once felt like a burden may reveal itself as a gift. And what once seemed like a series of painful setbacks may reveal a path that was shaping you all along. Stay with us until the very end, because the final insight brings everything together. It reveals why so many empaths spend years searching for their purpose, only to discover that the answer was quietly present within them from the beginning. This understanding has the power to change the way you see yourself and the role you play in the lives of others. If topics like empathy, personal growth, human behavior, and hidden psychological truths fascinate you, then you are in the right place. Welcome to the channel. Be sure to subscribe and join our growing community as we continue exploring the deeper truths that help us better understand ourselves, our relationships, and the extraordinary gifts that often remain hidden in plain sight. Long before many empaths understood the meaning of empathy, they often carried a quiet feeling that they were different from the people around them. It was not always obvious. In many cases, they looked like everyone else on the outside. They went to the same schools, lived in the same neighborhoods, and followed the same routines. Yet deep inside, life felt different. They noticed things that others seemed to miss. They sensed emotional tension before anyone spoke a word. They picked up on sadness hidden behind smiles. They could feel when a family member was upset, even when that person insisted everything was fine. As children, they usually could not explain these experiences. They simply knew that certain places felt heavy while others felt peaceful. They knew that some people drained their energy while others made them feel calm and safe. While other children moved from one moment to the next without much thought, empaths often absorbed the emotional atmosphere around them without realizing it. This sensitivity could become confusing at a very young age. A child might enter a room feeling happy and leave feeling anxious, angry, or sad without understanding why. They often assumed those emotions belonged to them. What they did not know was that they were picking up emotional signals from the people around them. Since nobody explained this to them, many grew up believing there was something wrong with them. They wondered why they felt everything so deeply. They wondered why criticism hurt more than it seemed to hurt others. They wondered why certain situations stayed in their minds long after everyone else had forgotten them. While friends moved on from emotional experiences quickly, empaths often replayed them over and over, searching for meaning and understanding. Crowded places were another challenge. Large groups of people could feel overwhelming. Shopping centers, busy events, packed classrooms, and noisy gatherings often left them emotionally exhausted. At the time, many believed they were simply shy or antisocial, but the reality was often much deeper. Their minds and emotions were processing an enormous amount of information. Every conversation, every mood, every emotional shift entered their awareness. While most people naturally filtered out much of this information, empaths seemed to absorb it all. This created a level of emotional stimulation that could become difficult to manage. After spending time in busy environments, many empaths felt the need to retreat into quiet spaces where they could recharge and reconnect with themselves. As they grew older, another pattern often appeared. Empaths frequently carried emotional burdens they could not explain. They worried about people they barely knew. They felt responsible for fixing problems that were not theirs. They became deeply affected by the struggles of others. News stories, personal tragedies, and even the pain of strangers could linger in their hearts for days or weeks. While many people could acknowledge suffering and move forward, empaths often carried it with them. They felt connected to human pain in a way that was difficult to describe. This connection was not something they chose, it simply happened. Unfortunately, this often led to feelings of isolation. Friends and family members did not always understand why they reacted so strongly to emotional situations. Some were told they were too sensitive. Others were encouraged to toughen up. Many learned to hide their emotions because they feared being judged. They became experts at appearing fine while carrying emotional storms inside. Over time, this created another challenge. They began questioning their own experiences. Instead of trusting their feelings, they doubted them. Instead of accepting their sensitivity, they fought against it. Yet no matter how hard they tried to become less emotional, their nature remained the same. The truth is that many empaths were experiencing life differently, long before they understood why. Their sensitivity was not an accident. Their awareness was not random. The traits that made them feel different were shaping the way they would eventually see the world. While others focused on what people said, empaths often focused on what people felt. While others looked at behavior, empaths sensed what existed beneath the behavior. This deeper perception would eventually become one of their greatest strengths, even though it often felt like a burden in the beginning. As the years passed, many empaths found themselves facing emotional pain more frequently than others. This was not because life was unfairly targeting them. It was because they experienced emotions at a deeper level. Joy felt deeper, love felt deeper, but so did disappointment, rejection, and heartbreak. When relationships ended, they often carried the emotional weight for much longer. When someone betrayed their trust, the wound reached far beneath the surface. Emotional experiences left lasting impressions, because empaths did not simply think about life, they felt life. Their deep emotional sensitivity often caused them to take responsibility for people around them. If a friend was struggling, they felt responsible for helping. If a family member was suffering, they felt responsible for fixing it. If a partner was unhappy, they felt responsible for making things better. This sense of responsibility came from a place of compassion, but it often became exhausting. They poured energy into solving problems that were never theirs to solve. They carried burdens that belonged to others. They sacrificed their own well-being in an effort to reduce the suffering around them. This pattern also attracted certain types of people into their lives. Wounded individuals often felt drawn to empaths. People carrying unresolved pain, emotional trauma, insecurity, or loneliness frequently found comfort in their presence. Empaths listened without judgment. They offered understanding without demanding anything in return. They created a sense of safety that many people desperately needed. While this gift allowed them to help others, it also exposed them to emotional exhaustion. Some people came into their lives seeking healing, but never took responsibility for their own growth. Instead, they relied on the empath to carry them emotionally. Over time, this created one-sided relationships where the empath gave endlessly while receiving very little in return. Because of these experiences, many empaths begin to believe that their pain is a punishment. They wonder why they keep attracting difficult situations. They wonder why relationships often leave them drained. They question why life feels heavier for them than it appears to feel for others. Yet as time passes, many discover a surprising truth. Their pain was not meaningless. It became their teacher. Every disappointment taught them discernment. Every betrayal taught them boundaries. Every heartbreak taught them self-respect. Every difficult experience expanded their understanding of human nature. While others learned through observation, empaths often learned through direct emotional experience. The lessons were painful, but they were powerful. Over time, these hardships developed qualities that could not be purchased, borrowed, or taught in a classroom. Compassion grew deeper. Understanding became stronger. Emotional wisdom expanded. This emotional wisdom eventually leads many empaths to an important realization. Their purpose was never to save everyone. This idea often comes as a surprise because many empaths spend years believing that helping people is their primary mission. They become rescuers. They become fixers. They devote themselves to solving problems, healing wounds, and carrying emotional burdens. Yet no matter how much they give, they eventually discover a difficult truth. Some people do not want to be saved. Some people want comfort without growth. Some people want support without responsibility. And some people will continue repeating the same patterns, no matter how much help they receive. This realization changes everything. It shifts the empath's understanding of their role in the world. Their mission is not to rescue every struggling person they encounter. Their mission is not to sacrifice themselves for everyone else's happiness. Their deeper purpose is far more profound. It is to awaken compassion where there is indifference. It is to bring understanding where there is judgment. It is to help people feel seen in a world where many feel invisible. It is to remind others of their humanity during moments when life feels cold and disconnected. Many people spend their entire lives feeling misunderstood. They hide their fears. They hide their pain. They hide the parts of themselves they believe others will reject. Then one day they encounter someone who truly listens, someone who sees beyond the surface, someone who understands emotions that words cannot fully express. In that moment, healing begins. Not because the problem was solved instantly, but because the person finally felt understood. Sometimes the greatest healing happens when someone finally feels understood. This is one reason empaths have such a powerful impact on the people around them. Their presence often creates emotional safety. They help others lower their defenses. They encourage honesty without forcing it. They create space for authenticity. Yet this gift carries another hidden effect that many empaths do not recognize at first. Empaths often become mirrors. Without trying, they reveal truths that others have spent years avoiding. Their presence reflects emotions back to people. It exposes wounds that have not healed. It highlights fears that remain hidden beneath confidence. It brings insecurities to the surface. It even reveals the authentic self that many people work hard to conceal. Some people love this experience. They feel understood. They feel accepted. They feel inspired to grow. These individuals often form deep and meaningful connections with empaths. The bond feels natural because it is built on honesty and emotional depth. Yet not everyone responds this way. Some people become uncomfortable when faced with their own reflection. Instead of embracing the truth, they resist it. Instead of healing their wounds, they protect them. Instead of growing, they run. This is why empaths often experience sudden friendships that become intensely close in a short period of time. It is also why they sometimes experience sudden betrayals that seem to appear without warning. The same qualities that attract people can also trigger fear in those who are not ready to confront themselves. Many empaths spend years wondering why relationships in their lives often feel so intense. The answer is that emotional depth naturally creates powerful reactions. People rarely remain neutral around genuine empathy. They either feel drawn toward it or challenged by it. They either embrace the connection or resist what it reveals about them. As a result, empaths often find themselves at the center of relationships that transform lives, uncover hidden truths, and force people to confront parts of themselves they can no longer ignore. And this pattern continues to reveal an even deeper reason why empaths were given their unique gifts in the first place. For many empaths, there comes a moment that changes everything. It does not arrive with a dramatic announcement. It does not appear as a sudden miracle. Instead, it usually grows from exhaustion. After years of giving, helping, supporting, listening, understanding, forgiving, and carrying emotional burdens that were never theirs to carry, they begin to notice a painful pattern. No matter how much they give, it never seems to be enough. No matter how much energy they pour into other people, someone always needs more. No matter how hard they try to heal others, new problems continue to appear. This realization can feel heartbreaking because many empaths genuinely believe their purpose is to give endlessly. They believe that being compassionate means always saying yes. They believe that being kind means always putting others first. They believe that love means self-sacrifice. For years, they carry these beliefs without questioning them. Then life begins teaching a different lesson. The first sign often appears as burnout. Emotional exhaustion becomes impossible to ignore. The empath who once had endless patience suddenly feels drained. The person who always answered every call no longer has the energy to pick up the phone. The individual who constantly supported everyone else begins feeling empty inside. What once felt rewarding now feels overwhelming. Their mind becomes tired. Their emotions become heavy. Their spirit begins asking an important question. Who is taking care of the person who is always taking care of everyone else? This question forces them to confront a truth they have avoided for years. They have been giving from an empty cup. They have been trying to heal others while neglecting their own wounds. They have been offering compassion to everyone except themselves. For some empaths, this realization is uncomfortable. They feel guilty for wanting rest. They feel selfish for setting limits. They worry that protecting themselves means they no longer care about others. But over time, they begin to understand that self-respect is not selfishness. It is survival. One of the greatest lessons an empath learns is that they cannot help the world while abandoning themselves. This lesson sounds simple, but it often takes years to fully understand. Many empaths spend much of their lives believing their worth comes from what they give. They become valuable because they are helpful. They become loved because they are available. They become accepted because they make life easier for everyone around them. The problem is that this creates relationships where their needs are constantly pushed aside. They become so focused on everyone else's emotional world that they lose touch with their own. As this pattern continues, resentment quietly begins to grow. At first, the empath may not even recognize it. They continue smiling. They continue helping. They continue showing up for others. But deep inside, frustration starts building. They wonder why nobody notices their struggles. They wonder why their kindness is taken for granted. They wonder why people seem comfortable receiving support without ever offering the same support in return. This resentment is not a sign that they are becoming cold or selfish. It is a signal. It is their emotional system telling them that something needs to change. The change begins with boundaries. For many empaths, boundaries feel unnatural at first. Saying no feels uncomfortable. Creating distance feels wrong. Prioritizing personal needs feels unfamiliar. Yet boundaries are not walls designed to keep people out. They are guidelines that protect emotional well-being. They allow empaths to remain compassionate without becoming consumed by the problems of others. They allow them to give without depleting themselves. They allow them to love without losing themselves. As empaths begin practicing boundaries, they often notice surprising reactions from the people around them. Some individuals respect the change immediately. Others become uncomfortable. Some even become angry. This reaction reveals an important truth. Not everyone was attracted to the empath because of who they were. Some people were attracted to what the empath provided. When the endless emotional support is no longer available, certain relationships begin to change. While this can be painful, it is also revealing. It helps the empath distinguish between genuine connections and relationships built on dependency. Through this process, self-respect begins to grow. The empath starts recognizing that their needs matter too. Their emotions matter, their peace matters, their energy matters. For the first time, they stop measuring their worth by how much they sacrifice. Instead, they begin valuing themselves simply because they exist. This shift changes everything. It creates emotional balance. It creates clarity. It creates a healthier relationship with both themselves and the people around them. Then comes the transformation phase. This stage often feels like waking up after years of moving through life on autopilot. The empath begins seeing old patterns with new eyes. Behaviors that once felt normal suddenly become obvious. Relationships that once seemed healthy reveal hidden imbalances. Beliefs that once controlled their decisions lose their power. The empath realizes that much of their life was shaped by the desire for approval. They wanted to be accepted. They wanted to be appreciated. They wanted to be needed. These desires influence countless choices, often without their awareness. As their awakening deepens, they begin letting go of the need to earn love through sacrifice. They stop chasing approval from people who refuse to see their value. They stop trying to convince others of their worth. They stop shrinking themselves to make others comfortable. The endless pursuit of validation slowly fades away. In its place comes a quiet confidence that does not depend on external praise. At the same time, another important shift occurs. The empath stops trying to fix everyone. This does not mean they stop caring. In fact, their compassion often becomes stronger. The difference is that their compassion becomes wiser. They learn that every person is responsible for their own growth. Every individual must choose healing for themselves. No amount of love can force someone to change. No amount of support can save someone who refuses to save themselves. This realization frees the empath from an impossible burden they carried for years. The emotional weight they once carried for others also begins to fade. They no longer feel responsible for solving every problem. They no longer absorb every negative emotion around them. They no longer allow the struggles of others to consume their own lives. Instead, they learn how to care without carrying. They learn how to support without sacrificing. They learn how to love without losing themselves. As this transformation continues, the empath starts choosing themselves in ways they never did before. They honor their intuition. They protect their energy. They create space for rest and recovery. They spend time with people who uplift rather than drain them. They become more selective about where they invest their emotional resources. This is not selfishness. It is wisdom earned through experience. Perhaps the most remarkable change is how they begin using their gifts. In the past, their empathy may have controlled them. Every emotion around them demanded attention. Every problem felt like an emergency. Every wounded person became their responsibility. Now their gifts serve a different purpose. Their sensitivity becomes a tool rather than a burden. Their compassion becomes balanced by discernment. Their emotional awareness becomes guided by wisdom. This is where their real mission begins. For years, many empaths search for purpose in the wrong places. They think their mission is to save people. They think they must dedicate their lives to fixing broken individuals. They believe their value comes from how much suffering they can remove from the world. Eventually, they discover a deeper truth. The mission is not to save people. The mission is to raise awareness wherever they go. This mission may seem simple at first, but its impact is profound. Empaths bring awareness into situations where emotions are ignored. They help people recognize feelings they have buried. They encourage honesty where denial exists. They create understanding where confusion dominates. Their presence invites people to become more conscious of themselves and others. When they enter cold environments, they bring compassion. Not through grand speeches or dramatic actions, but through simple human connection. They remind people that kindness still matters. They remind people that empathy is not weakness. They remind people that understanding another person's pain is one of the most powerful forms of strength. When they encounter conflict, they bring understanding. While others focus on winning arguments, empaths often look beneath the surface. They seek the emotions driving the disagreement. They search for the fears, wounds, and misunderstandings hiding underneath the tension. This perspective often helps people see situations differently. It creates opportunities for healing that would otherwise remain hidden. When they encounter pain, they bring healing. Not because they possess magical solutions, but because they offer something many people desperately need: presence, attention, understanding, validation. They create environments where emotional healing becomes possible. They help people feel less alone in their struggles. When they encounter darkness, they bring hope. This hope does not come from pretending everything is perfect. It comes from demonstrating that compassion can survive difficult circumstances. It comes from showing that kindness still exists even in challenging times. It comes from proving that human connection remains possible even when life feels overwhelming. One of the most powerful truths about empaths is that their presence often changes people more than their words. They do not always realize this. They may leave a conversation believing nothing important happened. Meanwhile, the other person walks away feeling understood for the first time in years. They may offer a small act of kindness that seems insignificant, yet that single moment remains in someone's memory for decades. They may provide encouragement during a difficult period without realizing that their words arrived at exactly the right time. This is the quiet power of the empath's mission. It is not always visible. It is not always recognized. It rarely receives applause. Yet its influence spreads further than most people realize. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to bring more awareness, more compassion, more understanding, and more humanity into the world. And perhaps that is why so many empaths felt different from the beginning. The sensitivity that confused them, the emotions that overwhelmed them, the experiences that challenged them, the struggles that shaped them, none of it was meaningless. The very thing that made them feel different may be the reason they are here. Their sensitivity was never a mistake. Their compassion was never a weakness. Their struggles were preparing them. Every lesson, every challenge, every heartbreak, and every moment of growth was guiding them toward a deeper understanding of who they truly are. And perhaps their greatest mission is not changing the entire world. Perhaps it is changing every life they touch. One moment of awareness, one act of compassion, and one genuine human connection at a time. Before you go, take a moment to reflect on everything we explored today. If you have spent your life feeling different from the people around you, perhaps that difference was never meant to hold you back. Perhaps it was meant to guide you toward a deeper purpose. The ability to feel deeply, care deeply, and understand others on a level that many people cannot is not something to be ashamed of. It is a rare gift that has the power to bring light into places where it is needed most. Now we would love to hear from you. Have you always felt different from others? Do you believe empathy is a gift or a burden? And what part of this message resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story may inspire someone who is silently going through the same journey. If this video helped you see yourself in a new way, please take a second to like this video. It helps more people discover this message and supports the growth of our community. And if you know someone who constantly puts others first, someone who feels deeply, or someone who needs this reminder today, share this video with them. For more powerful insights about empaths, psychology, personal growth, emotional intelligence, and the hidden truths behind human behavior, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Remember this: your sensitivity was never a mistake. Your compassion was never a weakness, and the challenges you faced may have been preparing you for a purpose far greater than you ever realized. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and until next time, keep protecting your energy, keep trusting your intuition, and keep being the light that this world needs more than ever.